this video, we're going to be taking a look at R5-D4 for the Vintage Collection. This is the latest release of him based upon his appearance from The Mandalorian. If you recall, he is originally in A New Hope, and he's during that scene where Owen, Lars, and Luke are trying to buy some droids off the Jawas. And of course, they initially go with R5 here, and it doesn't quite work out. He explodes, and then that's how R2 and C-3PO end up reuniting with one another. So believe it or not, I've never owned an R5 action figure before now. I just got this yesterday, actually, at the time I'm recording this video. He's been sitting at my local Walmart for a couple weeks now, and I thought, you know, even though it's $17, it's an action figure I do really, or it's a character I really want for my collection. And quite frankly, if I get it on sites like eBay or Amazon, I'm probably not going to find it for a whole lot less. So I'll go ahead and get them now. And I'm glad I did. I'm finally happy to have R5 in my collection. So he's had a few releases over the years. He is, if I recall correctly, he is in the original run of the TVC line. I'm trying to think what number he was. He was probably in the 50 or 60 range. And I think he was repacked again in the Black Series 3 and 3/4 inch line, if I recall correctly. I think it may have been in the TIE Fighter package. But unfortunately, both those action figures were inaccurate. And that was, the inaccuracy was an issue that was addressed with this action figure that a lot of people were concerned about prior to its release a couple months ago. But fortunately, Hasbro did take note of all that, and they corrected it. And that error is the red painted on the back here. So this is considered probably the definitive R5 action figure, and it's probably going to be the last time we get one. There's really not a whole lot I can say about the figure, though. It's just the standard Build-A-Droid style action figure. What you see is all there is. $17 for this is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is at this point. You're not going to find action figures in TVC for too much less at this point, unless you happen to get lucky and it goes on sale. But even then, sometimes it's like $13 or $14 before it's over with. But regardless, I'm happy to have it. And, well, we'll just go ahead and look at the package here. So I haven't seen enough of The Mandalorian to know where this droid pops up. I'm sure it's not the exact same droid from A New Hope, but maybe there's various samples of the same droid model out there. But still, he does allegedly show up in The Mandalorian. I think a lot of people would have preferred this on another A New Hope card, but that's alright. R5-D4. And he's VC303. And a little description about him here. You know, he resides in the docking bay 3-5 of Mos Eisley Spaceport. Oh, so they did. Maybe that's more of a New Hope description. Not a whole lot to say about the package. It is what it is. Let's just go and take a closer look at this guy. So he's a pretty unique gnome. He's got these three almost like eyes there. I'm not sure if that is supposed to be eyes, but it is something unique about him. It's a very nice shade of red. It's a very bright color, very striking. You can see him from a mile away. He does have the antenna there, then red painted on top. Silver on the side of the dome. Both sides. He has the red outline on that side. And same with this side and then back. So the silver there. Some of the red here. He doesn't have any parts that any arms or anything that can stick out of him like some of the R2 action figures do. Hasbro could have easily released this in the Build-A-Droid line. Now he does have blue on his legs here. And of course the wire is sticking out on the feet there. I will say one thing about his third leg here. you can't seem to really rotate it. It does have a little bit of a looseness to it where you can maneuver it a little bit, but if you wanted him to be totally flush with the ground, it's not really going to happen. I wonder if that's just my sample or if that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's really about the best you can get, but you're never going to get him totally flush with the ground. Unless you just have him standing on 2 legs, of course. And almost looks like this leg is bent a little bit. It's kind of bowed in. It does have the wheels at the bottom here, which aren't really helpful unless you got an entirely smooth surface. I don't think it really works too well, and even then, still not the best. There's the blue back here as well. So as far as his accessories are concerned, I suppose if you count his third leg here as an accessory, that is. But you can take them apart altogether. You can take the dome off and then the legs if you wanted to. That's pretty much it. You can either have them standing like that, or you can have them in a moving position. Not sure if you could fit this guy in an X-Wing or not, or a Y-Wing for that matter. And that's mainly because of the wires in the feet here. I think a lot of these you can usually remove, but I'm not going to try and pry those out, but a lot of the Build-A-Droid action figures that have the wires, you can pull those out, or at least from one side you can. Articulations, exactly what you would expect. Swivel at the dome, swivel at the shoulder there, swivel at the feet, and that's pretty much it. Plain and simple. That's probably how I'll have them displayed, at least for a little bit. Standing position. We'll bring out another action figure that I reviewed very early on the channel. If you want to go way back and check that out. That's the VC-149 R2-D2 from New Hope. This is the dirty version, and it was also revealed recently. I think Hasbro is basically doing a direct re-release of this again, but this time with clean version. But it's going to have a different number. And they look really good together. Happy to have both of these droids side by side at long last. I do think there are other R5 action figures out there. I think maybe in the Saga line back in 2002, that may have had an R5 droid. Maybe... Did the Kenner line have one? I forget. He might have, though. Maybe in the Power of the Force days as well, but I'm sure he's had multiple releases over the years. I have to go check. Maybe there's like 5 or 6 action figures of him all together in 3 3/4 inch. He is in the Black Series 6-inch line as well. I think he came in a pack, like a 3-pack or something like that. I do not own that action figure though, but if I ever did find it for a good price, I would get him. But anyways, would I recommend an R5-D4 for your collection? I totally would. I don't know if this one's going to be in so high a demand that people are clamoring for him, but at the same time, it has been revealed recently that Hasbro is cutting a lot of the production runs on action figures, so it's possible his production run might be cut by now. I think Hera and Pre Vizsla and Darth Revan, for instance, all their production runs have been cut, even though they've only been out for like 3 months now at this point. Well, maybe closer to 5 now. But still, that's a pretty short time, so if you really want one, or if you really want this particular one, I would suggest you jump on it now. Otherwise, you could go back in time and get some of the older versions. I'm not sure about the original TVC action figure of him. That one might be kind of expensive, especially if you get him brand new. Black Series 1 might not be the worst. I would have to go back and check the prices. But overall, if you're a big fan of the Build-A-Droid mold, this is a nice action figure. If you're a big fan of R5, of course you should have this for your collection. And of course, if you're a big fan of astromech droids, you can always add one more to your collection. and he's a nice, unique one. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some of the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.